station, this is Houston. Are you ready for the event?
I'm ready for the event.
Eastern Aroostook Regional School Unit number 39, this is Mission Control, Houston. Please call station for a voice check.
Station, this is Eastern Aroostook Regional School, Unit 39. How do you hear me?
I hear you loud and clear, Mom. How do you hear me?
Excited to spend a few minutes with you and very anxious and to share this to the students of District 39. The auditorium is packed and we are ready for the first question. Good luck.
Hello, my name is Ava Sutton. I attend Teague Park. I'm in 3rd grade. My question is, why did you want to be an astronaut?
That's a great question, and you can imagine one I've been asked many times, and I wish I had a perfect answer for it, just one particular event, but I really don't. I think maybe it had something to do with the fact that I was always curious as a child, and what has really driven me throughout my life is this spirit of exploration. Maybe that was because growing up in the small town in Caribou, we spent a lot of time outside in nature, in the trees, and I was fascinated with science and nature and the world around me. Perhaps it was because when you look at the stars from up in Caribou, you have an amazing view that's really uncluttered by light pollution like we have in other big cities. So maybe it was one of those things. I started saying it when I was 5 years old, and I just never stopped.
I'm in 4th grade. I attend Caribou Middle School. My question is, what are your favorite memories of Caribou, Maine?
My favorite memories of Caribou. Wow, that's a tough one. There's so many. Of course, as you all know, I was born there and I was there until I graduated high school. So all of those formative years, I think the most important ones to me were events and time that I spent with my family, some of who are there with you today, my mom and my sister, and also my friends. I love the fact that we could always, as kids, run around and play outside. It was a very safe community, and we could spend a lot of time in nature. We had a small camp, up at Madawaska Lake, which was really nice to go to in the summer, canoeing around, biking around with my siblings and my parents and all my friends. So I think all of those things. One of the things that I really loved, too, about being a student and being in high school was that back in those days, you could somehow there was time to do everything. All of my interests I was able to pursue, whether that was sports or music or reading or any of the academic pursuits as well. There was always time for everything. And I don't know how that is still. I think you'll see as you get older and as you're an adult, time just disappears, and sometimes it's difficult to pursue all those other things that you had as hobbies back then. So appreciate them now.
Hello, my name is Ashlyn Richards. I attend Caribou Middle School. I am in 5th grade. My question is, what did it feel like to accomplish your dream of going into space?
And no need for applause and anything in between answers. We'll be able to get through more questions if we hold the applause. So the question on how did it feel to accomplish my dream? I'll tell you, it is still difficult to believe that this is happening. Coming up here, I've been up here just over a month now, and as you know, it was something I dreamed about since I was 5 years old, and in particular started thinking a lot about since I was selected to be an astronaut 6 years ago. But when you get up here, from every moment from when that rocket took off, from when I arrived here at the space station, it is so amazing and such an incredible feeling that it's difficult to believe sometimes that it's actually happening. I mean, right now, if I let go of this microphone, it floats. I can move up here to the ceiling, act like I'm Spider-Man, no problem. Everything just floats. And sometimes that is really difficult to believe that it could actually be true.
Hello, my name is Robert DeMarchant. I attend Caribou Middle School. I'm in 6th grade. My question was, how do your family and friends feel about you going up to space?
Well, my mom and my sister are right there, so you'll have to ask them what they think. They were also at the launch, so they can probably tell you a lot of really good stories. But I think in summary, it was always something that my family and friends really supported. Everybody knew it about me. Growing up in Caribou, all of my teachers and my friends in college, people called me Space Girl, so it was something that people always associated with me with this dream that I had. I think, though, just like me, everybody knew that there was just a small chance of it actually happening. You know, we all know that no matter how great you are, there's a very small number of people that get selected to do this job. There's many, many more people that deserve this job just as much as I do or any of my fellow astronauts, but there's a lot of luck involved, too.
Hello, my name is Amelia Godin. I attend Caribou Middle School and I'm in 7th grade. My question for you is, how important was resiliency in helping you to overcome the disappointment of not being selected the first time you applied to NASA?
That's a great question, and I think that it was very important, and that was a great lesson learned for me, in that you really can't give up. You need to keep trying and keep working hard in order to make your dreams come true. And what that question is alluding to is the fact that I had applied before to become an astronaut. In the selection that took place 4 years before the time I was selected, I made it all the way to the final round. And I went to NASA and I interviewed and everything went well, but then I got the call that said, you know, we're only choosing 9 astronauts this year and we encourage you to try again, but we didn't select you this time. And that was, of course, heartbreaking to hear, even though it was something that, you know, I didn't think that it would actually come true. I knew there was such a small chance, but still, when you get that close and you're there experiencing it, of course, it's still pretty disappointing to get that news. In the end, 4 years went by, and there was a chance to apply again. And I actually thought for a minute, do I want to go through that again? Do I want to go through all of the psychological struggle of going through the interview process, coming close, and then I'm sure it's just going to happen, the same thing's going to happen again where, you know, it'll go well, but it's just a numbers game and I won't be selected. So do I want to put myself through that? In the end, of course, I knew that I had to, because for the rest of my life, I would have always asked myself why, what would have happened if I didn't do it. And of course, this time it did work out differently and I was selected. So it just is it was a good way to look back on it and think, wow, you know, you really can't give up. No matter what happens, what struggles you face, you can expect to fail along the way. And I did. I failed along the way. And if you aren't failing, you know, you're probably not even trying hard enough. So I think that's a good lesson to learn, is never be afraid to take a risk and sometimes fail. And in the end, that may bring you even closer to what it is you want to do.
Hello, my name is Claire Willett and I attend Caribou Middle School as an 8th grader. My question is, how did being from a small town impact your career?
Well, I think that first of all, it certainly did not have a negative impact. If anybody ever thinks, you know, I'm from some small town in the middle of nowhere compared to all these big city kids that have more access to better resources and that kind of thing, it certainly didn't have a negative impact. And I would argue that for me, it actually had a very positive impact on my future and on my career, because I think that it gave me a wider perspective on all these different aspects of the world. If I look at the types of places where I've spent my life, where I grew up in Caribou, where I went to university, places I've traveled, I think one of the things that really makes you a valuable contributor to society in general is to have a really broad and diverse way of looking at the world. And that was something for me that experience in Caribou gave me, that small town view, which really is a majority. A lot of people in our country come from similar places like that. And I think it allowed me to think a little bit differently and to identify with a lot of different types of people, which served me very well and helped me not only get along with others and teamwork type activities, but to also just appreciate different points of view. So I think for me, it was a great contribution to where I am now.
Hello, my name is Colin Dumont. I attend Caribou High School, and I'm in the 9th grade. With the impending approach of Kessler syndrome, how will we help solve the problem of space junk?
That's a great question, and I wonder if everybody in the audience knows what the Kessler syndrome is. Would you like to explain it to them?
Kessler syndrome is...
I can if you like, but...
It's space junk orbiting the planet that collides to create smaller particles that within 20 to 40 years could create a dust storm, destroying anything that attempts to leave the atmosphere.
Right, so the Kessler syndrome is kind of a fancy way of saying and talking about the problem of space junk and orbital debris. So orbital debris, fragments and pieces of old satellites or spacecraft that are still in orbit around the planet Earth today. We have the U.S. Space Command run by the military, which tracks over 500,000 pieces of orbital debris. It is really phenomenal. I've seen some images of what it looks like, and it looks like a whole cloud of stuff that is going around in orbit around the Earth. The thing that makes that so scary for us on the space station and as astronauts is that if even a very, very small piece of debris is traveling in orbit at the same speed that we are, 17,500 miles per hour. So even something very small can cause a large amount of damage to a spacesuit, to the space station, to any vehicle. So that's why we have to track these pieces of debris to make sure that we can avoid any collisions that would have a deleterious effect on us or on the space station. So luckily, the U.S. Space Command tracks these objects, and the Kessler syndrome is talking about the fact that these objects do slow down. If they are subjected to drag in the atmosphere, so drag even in orbit. So eventually some of them will fall into the atmosphere and burn up. So then you will eliminate some of them, so you'll have fewer. But the problem with this Kessler syndrome is that we are creating more new pieces than old ones are being burned up in the atmosphere. So we are accumulating more and more. NASA is very aware of this, and we have an office called the Orbital Debris Management Office that looks at these objects that are all tracked, and then they look and evaluate if we need to make any maneuvers. So we can actually move the space station up or down a little bit. We can reboost in order to get out of the way of it if there is going to be an impending impact with an object. And NASA is looking at ways for the future to try to get rid of some of these pieces of orbital debris. One of the things that they tried recently was a net, which they deployed from the NanoRacks facility. It was a small net that was able to catch a small NanoRacks satellite as a technology development for something that might be used in the future. But we definitely need some creative ideas on this. So if you guys have any ideas, you should definitely start thinking about them, start thinking about how to implement them, and let NASA know.
Hello, my name is Mia Terrio. I attend Caribou High School and I am a sophomore. My question is, whose support impacted you the most to achieve your ultimate goal of being an astronaut?
Well, I was very, very fortunate to have a lot of support, like I mentioned before, from my family and friends all along the way. And I think just always having that positive encouragement of people actually supporting me and believing that it could happen really made a difference. And I think most importantly was the fact that I was very lucky to have incredible mentors throughout my life, especially in the more advanced years. So when I was at university and in graduate school, I had mentors who were not only at the top of their field in science, but they were also amazing people. And that made a big difference for me in terms of the fact that they didn't only care about me as a scientist or the data that I was collecting, they also cared about me as a person. And I think that helped me be successful at what I was doing, and also really just made me happy in pursuing all of these things.
Hello, my name is Elena Quinlan. I attend Caribou High School as a junior, and my question is, how has your interpretation of space and being an astronaut changed before and after your spacewalks?
I don't know that my actual interpretation of space changed that much. I think the thing is, it just keeps getting better and better. From the moment I arrived on the space station, I've had a huge smile on my face, and if you see some of the pictures of when I arrived, I don't know that I've ever looked happier. going out on that spacewalk just a week and a half ago took it even another level. And I felt so much excitement, so much actual relief, because it was something that I really, really wanted to do and really hoped to do, but there's never a guarantee that we'll do a spacewalk, since it's always just depends on what's happening. We only do spacewalks when we need to, because they are the riskiest thing that we do. So if we have a piece of hardware or something that needs to be repaired, we'll do a spacewalk. It's not like we just go out there for fun. So I was very lucky to get to do it, and I'll tell you, looking down on the planet, being up here floating, looking down on the planet through the window, it really gives you a completely different perspective, even far different than a picture or a video from exactly the same place can be. It's difficult to describe exactly how it just feels different, thinking about the fact that you are looking back at this, your home, the home of everybody you know, everything, every place you've ever been, everything you've ever experienced is all down there beneath you. And that was even more, the magnitude of that was even higher when you're out on a spacewalk, because at that point I'm just out there alone in the spacesuit. Not quite alone, also with my colleague Christina Koch, of course, but the two of us out there. I'm in my spacesuit, which is my whole life support system, giving me everything that I needed to stay alive. And you look down and you can just see your boots, nothing but your feet and the earth below you. And that feeling, it just is absolutely awe-inspiring, thinking about the magnitude of where we are and how insignificant really we are as humans in the role of the planet, in the role of the solar system, in the whole universe, and looking down at this very, very special planet Earth that we know we need to protect, this very fragile, thin atmosphere, the oceans and all of the land masses. We need to do our best to conserve and protect these, because we only have one home.
Hello, my name is McKenna Smith, and I'm a senior at Caribou High School. My question is, to be part of the Artemis project, what we have to do to train? Will all of your equipment for missions to the moon be different? For example, the spacesuit.
So the Artemis mission is NASA's new mission to return astronauts to the surface of the moon and to eventually go on to Mars. One of the differences in training astronauts for those types of environments is, of course, the fact that up here, while I am experiencing microgravity, on the moon, you do have some gravity. You have about 1/6 of the gravity that we have on Earth. So we'll have to train astronauts to operate in those conditions. One of the things that we've already started doing at the Johnson Space Center is in the neutral buoyancy lab, the big pool where we train in the spacesuits to do spacewalks. They're actually using different sets of weights and floats on the astronauts. And when I was doing all my training in there, they try to make you neutrally buoyant to show what it would be like to feel like this in orbit around the Earth in microgravity. But for the moon, they're trying to simulate more that 1/6 gravity, so they're adjusting the weight a little bit, so while the astronauts are underwater in the pool, they have what's closer to that feeling of the 1/6 gravity. We also have a new spacesuit called the XEMU, the Extravehicular Mobility Unit, so a new version of our spacesuit. And this new version has enhanced dexterity. It allows you to move your arms in angles that are simply not possible to do given the construction of the spacesuit that I'm using up here now. It also allows you to really turn your waist like this. It has a different waist bearing, and it comes in a really wide variety of sizes that enhance mobility. You can really squat down. You can do maneuvers like this in that new spacesuit, which you really can't do in the current one.
Hello, my name is Aubrey Dickinson. I attended in Sheepburg School and I'm in 3rd grade. My question is, do you miss your family?
Well, I better say yes, right? Because my mom's right there with you. And of course the answer is yes. I do miss my family and friends, but the nice thing is, and one of the most important things about me being up here, is that I'm trying to do my best to share this adventure and share this mission with my family, my friends, and with all of you down there. Because I am the lucky one that gets to be up here, but I am not the only person that made this possible. There are thousands of people at NASA that are supporting this every minute, every step along the way. We really owe everything that we do up here to all of them. And I owe everyone all along the path that I had, all along my journey, starting right there in Caribou. And so, yeah, the answer is I do miss them, and hopefully I'm making it up by helping to share it with them as well.
Dr. Meir, on behalf of the teachers, the staff, the students, and the administration of RSU 39, we would like to thank you for your time today and for answering these student-generated questions. You are an inspiration to all of us here at RSU 39 for your perseverance, your determination, and your commitment to achieving lifelong goals. Thank you for encouraging us to dream about our own future. You are a true role model for today's younger generation. Thank you.
Hope you caught that last piccolo playing, and that was for all of you back in Caribou. This is the same piccolo that I used to play in the Caribou High School band. Thank you so much for everything. It has been my pleasure being here today and talking to all of you. I wish we had more time. I will point out these lettuce plants growing right here. 2 different wavelengths of light. If you look at my Instagram, you can see more photos of that. Thank you, everybody.
Station, this is Houston ACR. That concludes the event.
Thank you to all the participants from Eastern Aroostook Regional School, Unit number 39. Station, we are now resuming operational audio communications.